Hare Krishna. So, today we continue our seminar on Upadesamrta by Rupa Gosvami. In our first seminar, we discussed, in first session of this seminar, we discussed 6 urges of the body, subtle and gross urges of the body. And we established that no one can really enter the abode of bhakti without at least trying to subdue these urges. And we said that it's really important to understand that we cannot control these urges by our own endeavors, or we shouldn't try to control those urges by our own endeavor. We can, of course, we know jnanis also can control these urges, but we should control them by taking shelter of Krishna. Yes, not separately from Krishna, not separately from bhakti. And we'll discuss these points today. So we'll discuss today the second verse of Upadesamrta, which describes 6 items that are detrimental for our devotional service. 6 items by which our devotional service, our bhakti, is destroyed. And it says, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpa niyamagraha janasangascha laulyamcha shadbir bhaktir vinashati. Vinashati means to destroy. So these 6 things, these 6 items destroy our devotional service, destroy our bhakti. So we should be extremely careful to avoid them, to give them up, to not even think to engage in them, because they will destroy our bhakti. And if we are here, we certainly don't want that our bhakti would be destroyed. And we shouldn't think that it's not such a bad thing, any of these 6 items, and it's not so severe. This is exaggeration. No, it's detrimental. So we should know what they are really thoroughly, not just superficially, but thoroughly, because Maya is extremely strong. No one can overcome Maya by his own endeavors. And if we leave the door open just a little bit, Maya can destroy us easily. Yes. It's the purpose of Maya to test us. Actually, the purpose of Maya is Radharani's expansion. So Maya is very merciful if we are sincere. The purpose of Maya is to remind us, yes, I'm not devoted to Krishna enough. Yes, this is the purpose of Maya. But if we give in to Maya, then Maya understands, Radharani understands that we are not ready for Krishna Bhakti yet. And she will prevent us to engage in devotional service. Yes, she even may send us away. So she'll put us tests, different tests all the time. This is her purpose. Even in material schooling, if we want to go from one grade to another, we have to pass many different exams. And so it's the same on spiritual journey. If you want to go from one grade of bhakti to another grade of bhakti, we have to pass many different exams. And if we don't pass certain exam, we have to repeat it, repeat the schooling. Yes. And Krishna has unlimited time, so he's not in a hurry. No. For him, million of lifetimes is less than his breathing in and out. Yes, so he has unlimited time, but it's not in our interest to wait for millions and millions of lifetimes to become devotee. Yes, so we should start to explain this. These items that are detrimental for our devotional service. And first thing is atyahara. Ati means too much. And ahara means to take, or to grasp, to keep, or to eat. So it has two meanings. To either eat too much or to collect things too much. And it is explained by our acharyas that because in the first verse, Rupa Goswami mentioned this Jihva Vegam and Udara Vegam, that these two already describe our urge for tasting food and to eat, to fill our belly. And so in this verse, Rupa Goswami explains Bhaktivinoda Thakur put more emphasis on our collecting things. And we said that if we have if we have too much fat, it's a sign that we overeat. Because as Prabhupada many times mentions, we should take to as much food we need to keep our body and soul together. Yes, so we can check ourselves if we are overweight or something. This is one meaning of atyahara. And the other is over collecting things. And this over collecting things is not just material things, and but it's also not just the urge of tongue and belly, but also the urge of other senses to enjoy too much, more than necessary in this world. As we explained yesterday, there is a verse in second chapter of first canto in which Sutta Goswami explains kamasya nindriya pritir labhuji vitayavata jivasya tattva jigesa nartohu yashikha karmapi. That kama, that means desire, is not meant for sense enjoyment. Na indriya priti. Indriya means senses, and priti means enjoyment. Na indriya priti. Kamasya nindriya priti. It's not meant for sense enjoyment. But what then is meant for? Labhoji vetayavata. just to live, not to enjoy with our senses, but to survive in this world, to live. Yes, that doesn't mean that we starve or avoid every sense perception. That we put these horse blinders and plugs in our ears that we don't hear and see anything. No. Lord Krishna explains in 6th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Natyashnastastu yogusti na chekanta manashnatah nachati swapna shilasya jagrato naiva charchuna. That one who eats too much or too little, or sleeps too much or not enough, he cannot engage in yoga. Atyahara prayasa, yukta hara viharasya, yukta cheshasya karmasu, yukta swapna vabodhasya, yoga bhavati dukkha. That one who is moderate in his eating, sleeping, recreation and work can engage in yoga and be free from all suffering. Yes, so it's really important to be moderate in our needs. Yes, because of course body has certain needs, but we should be very moderate, very moderate. Yes. And one of the systems how to become moderate, which is glorified by our acharyas and by Krishna himself, is keeping fast on Ekadashi. I'm mentioning this especially because today is Ekadashi. So we have a really good opportunity to fast and keep our senses engaged in devotional service as far as possible. Yes, and as much as possible. Okay, and we said, yes, so if we try to enjoy with our eyes or with different sounds or tastes or sense of touch, this is all atyahara, if it's not necessary for our survival or for serving Krishna. Yes. If one eats too much, he can never become a devotee, really. It's great obstacle. Therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta was really was reprimanding his disciples who were fat. Yes, because sense enjoyment is completely opposite to devotional service. Yes, it's direct opposite of devotional service. Yes, because sense enjoyment means first a false identification with this body, and then to put this body in the center of our attention. It's cravings. So, but devotional service means to put Krishna in the center and devotional service in the center of our life, of our existence. So, if something is not beneficial, we should, of course, give it up. This is first and second items of surrender. Yes. Anukulyasya sankalpaha pratikulyasya varjanam. So these 6 things that should be, that Rupa Goswami explains that they destroy our devotional service, is meant for us to give them up. Is this pratikulyasya varjanam? We should give up whatever is not beneficial for my devotional service. And this is one item of surrender. Yes. And without surrender, we know we cannot achieve Krishna. Because this surrender doesn't mean just surrender. It has broader meaning, sharanagati. Sharanam, we said, that means taking shelter. Taking shelter. So we cannot take shelter properly of Krishna if we don't um, accept what is favorable, reject what is unfavorable, and so on. These are 6 items of surrender. Yes, so atyahara. Prayasa is the next item that destroys our devotional service. And it means over-endeavoring for some achievements. And is it explained by our acharyas? It's not just to achieve something gross material. Whatever achievements are there that are not bhakti sadhana are over an endeavor. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that we have 2 types of prayasa: karma prayasa and jnana prayasa. So karma prayasa means trying to achieve some material achievements. I don't know. Basically, in traditional sense, it meant to go to heaven. So to do anything to go to heaven, what is necessary. But it means also other things, to endeavor to achieve a certain position in society, to achieve something very difficult to achieve. I don't know, to be Olympic gold medalist in some sport, or to I don't know, achieve something in material science, really difficult to achieve. So if anything is not beneficial in this great endeavor for devotional service, we shouldn't endeavor. And jnana prayasa means that we collect knowledge. But this doesn't mean bhakti knowledge. Bhakti knowledge about devotional service and scriptures of our acharyas and Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures, we should know very thoroughly. Srila Prabhupada explains that we should know Shastra as good lawyer knows the law. When there is a court case, the lawyer must have knowledge of law. And he quotes, in this paragraph of this law says this and this and this. And in that paragraph it's stated like this. And these were different cases in the past, and it was judged like this and this and this. So lawyer should be very very knowledgeable about the law and previous cases. Yes, because it's crucial for the judgment. So we should have this proper knowledge of Bhakti Shastra. But not with separate idea from devotional service. So we should take proper education in devotional service, but not with the idea that I'll become a knowledgeable person and then I can defeat others or anything like this. And jnana prayasa, of course, means basically to collect knowledge of other things than devotional service, and about this monistic idea of knowledge. Yes, Mayavad philosophy. The trying over endeavoring for that we can discriminate matter from spirit. Yes, we have the best understanding of this, actually. So we shouldn't separately from devotional service endeavor for either material achievements or subtle achievements like knowledge and so on. And it is explained that jnanis who don't have bhakti, they don't achieve jnana. They achieve jnana abhas, the shadow of knowledge, not real knowledge. Knowledge is easily attained by devotee. Yes. Vasudeva Bhagavati bhakti-yoga prayojita janayati ashu vairagyam jnanam jayata haitukam. So by Vasudeva Bhagavati, by devotional service to Vasudeva, to Krishna, very quickly one attains knowledge and detachment from this world by itself. So we shouldn't endeavor separately for these things, but it should be our way of devotional service. Yes, to express our love for the Lord in such way. So this is very important to understand. That no endeavor for anything should be done separately from service to the Lord. Yes. Sometimes we think that we should practice some virtue even. But we should practice, actually all virtues come from Trinada Pisanichana Tarurivasishana Amanina Manadina Kirtanayaksadahari. If we practice this for Krishna's pleasure, not separately from that we have this idea, I will achieve this. Shipanchatatvaki, then every virtue is attained just by this virtue alone. To be extremely humble, to be tolerant as a tree, and to respect everyone, and don't respect for ourselves. Then every virtue is included in this one. Okay, prayasa, that was prayasa, or endeavoring for different achievements. Then bhakti. Then is prajalpa. Prajalpa, we said it's detrimental for our devotional service. All of these are detrimental, but prajalpa is also one of the extremes in this way to destroy our devotional service. This is gossiping. This is the worst problem even of devotees. Gossiping is so deep in our hearts, it's not easily to give it up. It brings the highest pleasure in material world. Besides sex, gossiping is the highest possible enjoyment. Therefore, everyone is gossiping about others. Yes. So we should be extremely careful not to gossip about anyone. If we don't have anything to speak about Krishna, we should be silent. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that this prajalpa means that we should keep mauna vrata. Mauna means to be silent, and vrata means that we a vow, yes, a vow of silence, that we don't speak at all if we don't have nothing to say about Krishna. Yes, we should keep mauna vrata, not speak, especially not gossiping about others. This was also the instruction of Lord Chaitanya to Raghunath Das Goswami. Gramya katana shunibe granya vardhana kohibe. Don't hear gossip and don't speak it. Yes. So we should be extremely careful. And it's not just gossiping about others. It's also useless debate. Many times we can see, especially on this social media, even devotees engage in useless debates about this and that, and establishing their right. Yes, this is craziness. It's just expression of false ego. Yes. If you want to get proper knowledge, you will certainly not get it from Facebook debates. Certainly not. Get it from Bhakti Shastras and hearing from authorities. And not from debates on internet. This is craziness. So engaging in these debates and reading of these debates is all craziness. It's all prajalpa. Yes, don't engage in this. Even reading, give up completely. And I advise you to give up all this social media at all. Yeah, completely. Instagram, TikTok, what else? Facebook. I don't even know the names. What is there? Something else also? Yes, this, I don't know. Snapchats or what? Twitter. Yes. Everything is destructible for our consciousness. Yes, give it up. Except if you need really for preaching, just publish something that is inspiring for a pure devotional service, and then leave immediately. Yes, this social media is so destructive. So, yes, and it's only prajalpa, nothing else, only prajalpa. So give it up completely. And then we have niyamagraha. Niyamagraha means two things. Either of that we fanatically keep to some rules, or the other possibility is to give up rules completely or partially, because these rules are not pleasant for me. So both is detrimental, according to Rupa Goswami and our acharyas, for our devotional service. So first, if we stick to rules fanatically, it will destroy our devotional service. Yes, our devotional service is meant to understand what is the purpose of rules. And the purpose of rules is smartavya satatam vishnur vismartavya na jatuchit sarve vidi nishedaksyur etar eva kinkara. It is explained that in Shastra there is a lot of different prohibitions and a lot of different commandments, even 10 commandments in the Bible, and there are, I think, four rules, 4 commandments, and 6 prohibitions. So, like this, we have yamas, prohibitions, and niyamas, injunctions or commandments in devotional service, in yoga. One of these niyamas is to be always satisfied. We mentioned this in one of the classes. Yes, to be always satisfied. This is God's commandment. if we are dissatisfied, we are breaking God's commandment. Yes, so never be dissatisfied. So all of these different prohibitions and commandments, they are just servants of one commandment and one prohibition. And this one commandment is, yes, always remember Krishna. And this one prohibition is, never forget Krishna. So we should know that the purpose of all these different injunctions and rules is to remember Krishna and not to forget him. So if we stick to some rules just for the rules' sake, but we forget about Krishna. For example, we mentioned Ekadashi. Today is Ekadashi, fasting for Ekadashi. So the rule is to fast for Ekadashi. But if we fast, but we do all sorts of nonsense, and we just spend our time on Facebook or different social media and pollute our mind instead of remembering Krishna, instead of using this time by fasting to remember Krishna, to engage in devotional service, it's niyamagraha, useless keeping our vow of fasting. Yes. Or we fast for Ekadashi, and maybe Nirjala Ekadashi, we keep Nirjala Ekadashi and think, yes, I'm better than all other devotees who eat Ekadashi Prasad. They're sense enjoyers. Yes. Then our tongue is fasting, but our ego is feasting. Yes. So these are all different types of niyamagrahas. And we mentioned the other type is not to follow rules. As I said, that I was serving prasad in temple one Sunday, and it was Ekadashi day. And there was a queue of devotees, and I heard one devotee said to another, should we go to have pizza? And the first devotee said, but today is Ekadashi. And the second one said, you shouldn't be such a fanatic. So this is also niyamagraha, the other type of niyamagraha. Fasting for Ekadashi is for the pleasure of Krishna. So we should fast for Ekadashi with this idea and engage ourselves in devotional service. This is the purpose of Ekadashi. And actually, of all these different rules and prohibitions. So we should know when to keep these vows and rules, and when not, and why not, and why yes. So we should know why we keep something and why we don't. Yeah. Then it will just become some custom that people are speaking of. Yes, and we should always keep the purpose in mind, why it's something needed and something not. This niyamagraha. And then it's jhana sangha. Jhana sangha. We spoke about jhana sangha a lot in our seminars. That means association of two types of association: of worldly people, of abhaktas, non-devotees, and these are many different types of non-devotees. This is one type of association, and other type of association that is detrimental for our spiritual life is association of the opposite sex. So these two associations should be given up completely. Yes. So non-devotee association is really detrimental. Yes. And these are maybe jnanis or karmis or atheists or whoever. And there are two types of such association, either by proximity or by attachment, so that we have some affection towards such people. Yes. Both types should be given up. Yes. Because, as I explained, even modern scientists, psychologists say that every connection, even if you just meet a person in the street for a fraction of a moment, influences our consciousness. Yes, because these other people have different ideas how to become happy. Basically, every living entity is striving for happiness. Ananda mayobhyasat. We are the beings of happiness. We want to be happy. And therefore, single one of us, of living entities, have his ideas how to become happy, and emanates this consciousness around himself in different ways, not just by his or her thoughts, but also by his dressing, by culture, by the way of speaking, in whatever possible way we can imagine, and by the values in life, and so on and so forth. So association with those who emanate such undevotional, non-devotional ideas and energies around themselves is detrimental for our devotional service. Yes. And even in our preaching, we should be careful, because I read from Prabhupada. He said that, for example, Harinam is not meant for attraction of people. We shouldn't perform Harinam to attract people. But we should perform Harinam for Krishna's satisfaction. This should be our aim and goal when we perform Harinam. Not to impress or entertain people. Yes, it should be performed as a devotional service for Krishna's pleasure, Krishna's satisfaction. Yes. So we should keep proper consciousness in every our endeavor, that we do anything for Krishna's service, not for any other purpose. Yes, this is extremely important to understand. So And when we preach to other people, um, we should give them knowledge about Krishna, as it's best for their level of consciousness. That doesn't mean that we speak to new people who don't even know who is Krishna about loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna, or anything that they are not able to comprehend. Yes, but we should not compromise our philosophy. This also should be understood. We shouldn't compromise our philosophy. Yes. And association of the opposite sex. Yes. Natatasya bhavinmaho bandhaschanya prasangataha. Yoshit sangatyata pumso tatatat sangi sangataha. It is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam that nothing is so nothing will cover your consciousness with Maya so much as association with the opposite sex. And even more so, association with those who are attached to the opposite sex. They are even more detrimental for our consciousness than the association of the opposite sex. So both should be completely given up. Yes, the only person we can associate freely, and not completely freely even in this connection, is our wife, our husband. Yes, it's really important to understand this, because modern world is free mixing idea. And if we don't freely mix with the opposite sex, we are considered to be really weird, aren't we? Yes, he or she is some kind of weirdo, or how they say in modern language. Yes, it's a strange guy or strange girl. Yes, with some kind of psychological problem. Yes, we are labeled like this if we follow this rule strictly. But we should know that the senses are extremely powerful, and even if something improper doesn't cross our mind even, we enjoy in association of other sex, and we seek this enjoyment. Yes, it's so pleasurable. It's so pleasurable. Yes. So we should know that this is detrimental for my spiritual life. Even if we are grihastas, nothing changes. We should keep the same distance and keep association with our wife, but not other women. Not other women. Yes. And if we have some purpose to perform for Krishna's pleasure, for service, we should do it just business, strictly business. But we shouldn't perform service together. This is also important for managers to understand. Never engage Prabhus and Matajis together. Never. Because I have seen in many temples that they are engaged in the same service together. This shouldn't be the system. Yes. It's not proper philosophically and not socially, and in every possible way it's not proper. Yes. And it's described as one of the detrimental things for our devotional service. So we shouldn't engage in detrimental things for our devotional service, or even that is supported or enjoined even by some authority. Yes. So that shouldn't be the case in any way. and it is described by, I think, Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Bhaktisiddhanta, that we should always remember the case of Chota Haridas. This example was extreme. Chota Haridas went to what was her name, Madhavi, sister of Shiki Mahiti, who was considered, this was a really elderly lady, very old, and was considered as one of the most intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya. And this Chota Haridas just went to get some rice from her, first class rice meant for the Lord. And he just thanked and went away. And nothing else. Not speaking unnecessary words with her. But when Lord Chaitanya heard about this, he rejected him. And he never wanted to see him again. Yes. So, we are recommended by our acharyas, never forget this example of Chota Haridas. So we should keep our distance, yes, in the dealings with the opposite sex. Yes. If we have this need, which is natural, we should marry, properly marry. Yes, and then we will be protected. Then this is ashram. Yes. It's no problem, we can marry. And no one will rebuke you if you want to marry. It's proper engagement of this propensity. And then we can nicely advance in devotional service. Yes. And we can have association of the opposite sex, but with full responsibility. Yes. Then if it's not with full responsibility, then it's just exploiting the energy. Yes, either from one side or another. Yes, it's exploiting of this sexual energy. Even if the thought of sex may not even cross our mind. Yes, but it's exploiting of sexual energy. Yes, jana sangha, cha laulyam cha. Laulyam is greed, and greed is detrimental for our spiritual life. Greed and disturbance of mind also means laulyam. It is explained by our acharyas. So greed, to want to have things. Yes, it is explained in Ishopanishad. Ishavasya idam sarvam yat kincha jagatam jagat tina tektina bunjita magridah kasya svitanam. That we should be satisfied what is set aside as our quota, as Prabhupada translates. What is given to us by Krishna, it's perfectly enough. Krishna will take care of us. Krishna is our master. And ananyas chintayantu mam yejanah parupasate tesham nitya bhyuktanam yogakshema vahamiham. He will give us whatever we need and protect whatever we have that we need. Yes. We shouldn't worry how I will survive, how I will go on, what will happen to me. These are all fears because we haven't accepted Krishna as our master yet. Really. So we should accept Krishna as our master and have complete faith in him. Yes. And so if we are meant to be wealthy and rich person, we'll definitely become. it's Krishna's will. But if this is not the purpose of Krishna, will never become rich. So it's useless to crave for things, this lobha, greed, laulyam in this case, greed for material things, and to be disturbed, to be always disturbed. Yes, these are all the consequences that we are not enough surrendered to Krishna. Therefore, Krishna, as we explained, as an austerity of the mind, is to be satisfied. Is to be satisfied. So we should be satisfied in every situation, even if difficulties come, even if something really is painful for our existence. Tateno kampansu samikshamano bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. Hritvakva purbirvidadanamasti jivito mukti padesadaibhak. So devotee is really thankful to Krishna even when reverses and difficulties come in his life, because he knows Krishna is guiding me through these experiences for my ultimate benefit. Yes. And I'm so grateful, Krishna, for these painful experiences. As Bhaktivinoda put, that those sufferings that I endure in devotional service are for Krishna's sake, are my highest ecstasies. So we should take like this, and we should not be greedy for anything. So we should take whatever are given to us by Krishna's mercy, and not be greedy for other things. Yes, these 6 items are detrimental for our devotional service. So we should understand them really well and apply them in our life. Avoiding them in our life. And be serious in devotional service and sincere. Okay, thank you.
You spoke about this, that men and women mix together, what about if a person is a spiritual master, guru, and he has a female disciple? Sometimes, they're meeting with them, and she's meeting with the spiritual master, and there's another person there, just to still there is an association. So how can you, what do you say about that?
Yes. This is modern world, of course. In traditional set, there was no female disciples of gurus. Because the husband was considered to be a spiritual master. But of course, if Guru gives some instruction to his female disciples, the proper etiquette, of course, as you mentioned, that someone is there, and these meetings with the opposite sex shouldn't be in this affectionate or frivolous manner, but strictly to perform some duty. Yes, to give a disciple an instruction. Yes, this is necessary. This is Guru's duty to guide his disciples. So he should also guide female disciples, of course, but very cautiously. Yes, very cautiously. That's an important thing. Yes, please.
I was thinking about this eating culture. You see from Chaitanya Charitamrita that sometimes they really encourage to eat a lot. And Srila Prabhupada also encouraged devotees, especially in the beginning, 65, 66, these times Prabhupada really encouraged them to eat a lot of prasada. So, how to understand this balance?
Yes. This is a classical question. It's important to understand. These people with whom Prabhupada dealt with, their motto in life were sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That means to enjoy to maximum with their senses in all types of sense perception. So he gave them some replacement for this, because their mind would go crazy if there would not be some engagement, pleasing engagement, beneficial pleasing engagement, and this is of course prasad. And they were very young, and so powerful digestion. It was not detrimental for their health either. But if we read Prabhupada's books, he time and again says that we shouldn't eat too much. Yes. Many times, not just once or here and there, in some obscure place. He says many times, we should be very moderate in our eating. We should be very simple.
In Sunday feasts?
Sunday feasts?
Or guests?
Yes, guests should be fed sumptuously. Of course, there are certain cases, Lord Chaitanya also exhibited this, that when there is festivities, Lord Chaitanya personally fed the devotees so much that they couldn't breathe practically. And he knew exactly what certain person likes the most. And so he gave this particular prasadam to that particular devotee in huge quantities with his own hand, and his hands were huge. So everyone received huge amounts of prasadam. But at the same time, he said, if we go around just seeking pleasures of our tongue and belly and genitals, we will never attain Krishna. The same personality. So we should know. Sometimes it's feasting, and if you can digest and so on, it's not. It's for Lord's pleasure to engage in eating, in feasting. But otherwise, we should be extremely moderate. Yes, and just eat enough to be healthy. That doesn't mean that we undereat. We should eat enough, but not more than enough. It's very easy to eat more than enough.
The eyes want more than the stomach.
Yes, yes. This is usual. You wanted to say.
Yeah, when you talked about anger, when can we use our anger? Anytime?
Yes, we can also use anger in devotional service.
Yeah.
But as we know from Krishna himself, austerity of speech, that the words should be beneficial and true and not disturb others. So we should use our anger to those who accept our authority. Or to destroy atheists. This is also proper engagement of our anger. To destroy atheists or to help devotees, those devotees who accept our authority. If someone doesn't accept our authority, our anger will just harm him, not help him. But we should know that we are servants of every living entity, because every living entity is a part of Krishna. So we should use our anger for Lord's service. That means to help the devotees, and we can help only those who accept our authority, or to destroy atheists or Mayavadis and so on.
And to the children?
Children are naturally our subordinates, and they accept our authority. We should use, of course, also for children, our anger.
With control.
Yes, of course. we shouldn't kill them in our anger or anything like this. We should use our anger as service, not for venting our indignation and frustration. Yes, yes, as a service. You wanted to.
Another question about you said that we should examine our body and if we have too much fat and we are eating too much.
Yes.
But we also see that, for example, Bhagavata-dharma,
Sorry.
we see that Bhakti Lord Thakur, he was quite chubby.
Yes.
We have other devotees. So shouldn't there be like it's not like completely like that in every case.
We should understand the principle. We should understand the principle. Of course, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had such a way of living, extremely stressful life, and not much movement, because he was a magistrate, and he went to work every day and even they made a railway to his house so that he would immediately move to his job, to his work. So and then he was writing and I don't know, he was completely engaged 24 hours a day. And so whatever he ate, it was practically too much. And because of the stressful life, then the body accumulates more fat. According to his lifestyle, he was not chubby at all. He was quite slim because of his lifestyle. But if we look Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, who is very slim, and Srila Prabhupada also. Yes. Hare Krishna. You wanted to ask something?
We will talk about the same, like how much enough prashadam, because sometimes difficult to understand when should stop.
Yes.
I think that just I hear somewhere writing that the yogi should eat somehow how much it's.
Feed to their hands.
But it's about drink also, it should together.
There is some Ayurvedic principle. I know not exactly. I think the quota of the stomach should be filled with some water, and then a quarter or little more with solid food, which should also be drank. That means that we chew enough, that we drink the solid food. And then the rest should be left empty for proper digestion. So when we feel that we could eat more, then we should stop. That means that we are not completely full. We have enough. We should be observant of our body. That we feel we have enough, but we're not full. We're not stuffed. We can feel immediately when we have eaten too much. So we should not go over the border. Yes, we should be observant and see that we don't eat too much. Is this okay?
And yeah, and one more continue this question about how many times it's good to eat.
Yes. Whenever you're really hungry, this is the best way. But it's not good to eat at night. But of course, if you extremely hungry, you can also eat at night, but extremely little, because it's not good for digestion. The night is good for cleansing our body. And if instead of cleansing our body, which can be made on an empty stomach, we fill it with food, then the body will take to digesting food instead of cleansing the body. So you will miss the opportunity and miss the opportunity of cleansing the body and miss the opportunity to properly rest. Because you cannot properly rest if you have to digest. Understand? So it's best to go to sleep a little hungry. Yes. If you're a little hungry, it's the best way of going to bed.
Isn't it also like young boys? I have grandchildren, so when they are growing and they get very tall, that they need to eat more than like me who are
Yes,
older
yes.
than them. I can see they can eat like.
Yes, I have experience. My own experience, because I ate a lot, extremely a lot, and I have two sons. And one son especially is big eater.
Especially when they grow.
Yes, yes. And once there was a retreat in Slovenian mountains with Mataji Devaki, and my son it was prasadam time, and he had huge amount of prasad. And Mataji Devaki came by, and she said, "Oh my God, how much young man can eat." Yes, extremely. And when Kadamba Karana Maharaj, who is spiritual master of my son, invited him to go with him, he of course spoke also with me and my wife. And he saw that my wife is little worried, and he said to her, "Don't worry, I will feed him." And then my wife said to him, "But you don't know how much he eats." And in one interview, or in one shooting, in one video, Maharaj is explaining this story, and he says how my wife reacted, and he said, "Yes, it was true. I didn't know how much he eats." Yes.
But isn't it also if you are kapha, vata or pitta?
Yes, yes, but this doesn't mean that we should be overweight just because we're a kappa, for example.
I am like Kappa, Pita, my husband is Vata, and I can see he can eat how much ever, and he never gain a gram,
Yes.
And I eat the same, I get very...
Yes, you should eat less. I also gain weight very quickly and easily. So we should be moderate. We should eat less. We shouldn't be envious of those who can eat a lot. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Please stand by.